Bill O'Brien is leaving Ohio State, and we already know who Ryan Day is going to hire to replace him.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It was only a matter of time before we had a reaction pod in your feed because the news this offseason has been a lot. It's come in a quick period of time. And with Bill O'Brien leaving, we already know who is going to replace him on the Buckeyes coaching staff. Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to a special bonus episode of Locked On Buckeyes here on Friday, February 9th in the year 2024. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. And this episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers join today, and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. One thing I have learned about covering Ohio State is this. There's never a dull moment. From the things that happened a couple of years ago when a player into the transfer portal shortly after a game that he was kicked off the sidelines of, and with the quarterbacks, Justin Fields transferring, Will Howard transferring, there's so much going on that makes us realize there's never a dull moment covering this team. And this is one of those moments. We all knew Bill O'Brien might be leaving Ohio State, or there was a possibility of him leaving Ohio State, and that is going to happen. He is going to be the next head coach at Boston College. His family had not left the Boston area since he got hired at Ohio State, so that even made a whole lot more sense when you factor in the family and the medical condition of his son getting treatment in Boston. That makes a whole lot of sense. But then there's the other angle here. Is that we already know who the next offensive coordinator is going to be, and that is Chip Kelly. That is correct. Chip Kelly has already even informed his UCLA team that he is going to leave Los Angeles to be the OC at Ohio State. And with all this in mind, I have this thought, y'all, I ain't mad about it. If you're going to lose Bill O'Brien and bring in Chip Kelly, you're getting a guy that Ryan Day already knows. Chip Kelly coached Ryan Day at New Hampshire. They worked together in Philadelphia. They worked together at San Francisco. And now, for the first time, Ryan Day is the boss. However, that doesn't really factor in the biggest storyline to me. You're getting a guy that, one, has previous head coaching experience. That, two, is a well-established guy of being a really good play caller in this sport. Three, he knows the spread offense, what Ryan Day wants to run. There's so many different angles here, but then there's another one for Chip Kelly. And this might be one that he might use down the road. With the way things were at UCLA and the talent gap that was there between the Bruins and the Buckeyes, and the way that he is currently viewed by a lot of people, some might say this is 10 years too late. And there might be some validity to that. However, there's also some validity to you need someone, especially at this point in time, who is well-established and who can come in and instantly take over the entire offense. Because Ryan Day has already said a couple days ago in a presser, him giving up play calling has to happen. And if Ryan Day decided that, hey, I don't want to go out there and get anybody else, let's go in-house, do you really think Ryan Day wants to give up play calling to somebody that has never called plays ever in their life on a consistent basis? I don't think so. I don't think Ryan Day does. Ryan Day would think that either, which makes Chip Kelly make a whole lot of sense. And now some of you might be saying, Jay, you talk a lot very positive about Bill O'Brien, how he works with quarterbacks and gets a lot out of them, maybe the most that they've ever done in a single season. That is Bill O'Brien. He does so many different things at a very high level. Yes, that is Bill O'Brien. But I have never in my life thought Bill O'Brien was a better coach than Chip Kelly. Ever. If it's just offense, I have never thought Bill O'Brien was the best quarterback coach in the country, or even, say, top 5 quarterback coaches in the country. I have never thought that, or just an offensive mind. I don't really think of Bill O'Brien in that way. However, with the hire, of course I'm going to try to put a positive spin on it. It's what we do here. Of course I'm going to try to analyze it properly. That's what we do here It's exactly what is happening right now. With Bill O'Brien gone, you had to make sure you brought in the right guy, or someone who could be the right guy. Maybe there's multiple people that fit that description of being the right guy. Or there are some guys, you get the gist. Bill O'Brien, he did. Chip Kelly, he does. I only wish the best for Bill O'Brien. I'm not really one of these guys who are going to come on here and be upset and say, oh, you screwed us over. You shouldn't have come here in the first place. Family ties or not, financial move or not, you shouldn't have come here in the first place. No. You should have just gone ahead and taken that job. Well, the job wasn't open. That job was not open when Bill O'Brien got hired at Ohio State. It's weird, though. Quick turnaround. I don't know the exact time period between Pete Thamel tweeting Bill O'Brien is expected to be gone, and then I'm talking about, hey, they're targeting Chip Kelly, and then Bruce Feldman, the same thing. He tweeted about Bill O'Brien. He tweeted about Chip Kelly. I went to the Wikipedia while just looking to see Chip Kelly's timeline of coaching. What did I find? Wikipedia had already changed Chip Kelly's description at the very, very top of him being the current offensive coordinator for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And I think this was before the deal was even set in stone. There were enough people out there that are truly believing that, hey, this is going to happen. And they were comfortable saying that before the deal was complete. For Ryan Day and the Buckeyes offense, I'm not really upset. It's going to be different with Ryan Day not calling plays and not having the full putting a lot of the attention he's put in previously inside the Buckeyes offensive rooms, running back, quarterback, receiver, O-line, whatever it might be. That is great. But here's another angle that just popped into my head as we speak. Who was the last head coach to coach with Justin Fry before he got hired at Ohio State? Chip Kelly. So Chip Kelly is not only a guy that knows Ryan Day's offense, that understands what Ryan Day wants, that believes in what Ryan Day does, and also is getting a massive upgrade of talent between the UCLA Bruins talent and Ohio State's. If the UCLA fans want to get mad at me for saying that, okay, so be it. I would love to say what Vanessa Bryant said when she was talking about the statue that Kobe Bryant said. Kobe Bryant, the first of 3 statues that are going to be outside Crypto.com arena, which is still weird to say, but I'm not going to do that. This is a family-friendly show, and even then, I still wouldn't say it on a pod. Anyways, I'm happy for Justin Fry being able to work with Ryan Day, someone that he knows previously, but also being able to work with his former boss. 2 guys that know each other very, very well. 2 guys that know what each other does very, very well, and they know how to work off each other. This is a great move for the Buckeyes. Yes, Bill O'Brien leaving does absolutely mess things up for an occasion, but Ryan Day said he had a backup plan. He already had an option or 2 or 3 in regards to what he might do if Bill O'Brien leaves Ohio State. And that plan was quickly put into action. And when that thing got put into action, a lot of people like myself are very happy with the result. Coming up next, we talk a little bit about how the hire of Chip Kelly impacts Brian Hartline. It's coming at you next on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snacks, and placing some super bets. FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W or 2 or maybe even 3. Not only can you bet on who will win Super Bowl 58, but FanDuel also has bets for which players will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and so much more. If you're looking to make some money or put some money down on Super Bowl 58, the current spread is San Francisco 49ers -2.5, and the over-under is set at 47.5. I am currently going with the under there, and I'm picking the 49ers to cover the spread. New customers join today, and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to sign up. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports book partner of the NFL. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on the YouTube. And now you can also find it on Amazon Fire TV. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Find the Locked On Sports Today channel now on Amazon Fire TV, found only at the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. One thing that might get overlooked in all of this mess is a man that currently holds the title of co-offensive coordinator at Ohio State. That is Brian Hartline. We all know him for being the elite recruiter at the wide receiver position, and he does a phenomenal job of developing talent at that position as well. Going to have another first-round pick in Marvin Harrison Jr. in the upcoming draft at receiver, and my gut tells me over the next few years, a Puka first-round pick. Year after that, Cardinal Tate, maybe even Brandon Anderson, they both leave after 3 years. They're first-round picks after that. Jeremiah Smith. I mean, it's just going to go on and on and on. Think about Mylan Graham and the other talented receivers at Ohio State. Rodgers, that's still there. Hartline's done a phenomenal job of filling this room up with elite talent. Will he be an elite offensive coordinator one day? That is something that is to be determined, because even though he has a co-OC tag in his resume, it's clear Ryan Day was still running the show last year. When you bring in a guy like Chip Kelly, I believe he's 60 years old, been around for a long time. I believe he's been a head coach. And I'm going to fact check this very, very quickly before I say the wrong thing. He has been a head coach since 2009. He's also been an offensive coordinator from 1999 until 2008. He was an offensive coordinator at New Hampshire and also at Oregon. So he has a proven track record of leading successful offenses. He has a proven track record of leading successful teams. All of that goes into how this impacts Brian Hartline. And if I'm Brian Hartline, I got Ryan Day in my corner. I am in the school that I played football at, and also I got Chip Kelly with me as well. This is a move that can instantly help Brian Hartline be a play caller, a good play caller when he gets that ability, when he gets that call, but also to help him run an offense in the future. And yes, I'm going to try to be positive, but this is a very positive move for Ohio State. Do I think Bill O'Brien would have done the same thing? Absolutely. But it's a whole lot different when the guy that's calling the offense, that's running the offense, is a guy that knows the head coach previously. Also, it is someone that knows how to work with somebody else on the staff. There were so many positives from this Chip Kelly hire. But Brian Hartline's sitting here like, look, y'all, I'm still here. Don't forget about me. I know I got that co-OC tag. Maybe down the road when Chip Kelly leaves Ohio State to take another job, maybe it's a head coaching job, and maybe at that time, Ryan Day will say, hey, Brian, it's your time, buddy. You got my time to what? Take that co off of your tag, take it out of your resume, and just now put a new line that says the year and offensive coordinator for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Think about the grooming process that we're going to be seeing right in front of our eyes. Think about the impact that Brian Hartline's going to have when he goes to the NFL, because he does have aspirations to coach in the National Football League. Maybe down the road we're going to see, hey, Brian Hartline, how does this help you? How does this impact you? And here is how with X, Y, and Z. It's huge, man. Because I know when I have been places, different jobs that I have had, or even podcasting here, it's always great to have somebody in your corner that's been doing something longer than you, has more experience than you, has had success along the way for you to learn and glean different things from. It's a huge benefit for him, and it's a huge benefit for Ohio State as well. Brian Hartline's probably looking at this like, well, I ain't mad about it. I mean, I might be, but also I got a job. I'm making good money. I am with a really good team. I am with a team that is going to be a contender to win the national championship. There's so many things that help and that instantly check the box off. But also when it comes to this factor here of Brian Hartline, is this Ryan Day's path to groom Brian Hartline to be the next OC at Ohio State. Because think about this. If he hires Jason Candle and Candle's like, look, I know as a head coach at Toledo, but if this is where I want to be and I just want to hunker down here in Columbus, Jason Candle could potentially be there for a long period of time. Now, of course, Ryan Day could not renew a contract, and that would lead Jason Candle going on to a new school. But if Jason Candle doesn't do anything wrong and makes things better and improves the recruiting and runs a successful offense, now renewing a contract would look really, really weird, unless it's a mutual thing. But even then, that would look really, really weird. What wouldn't look weird is if Ryan Day has already talked, because I would assume he's already talked to Brian Hartline about, hey, man, look, I know you have aspirations to do bigger things than just be a receivers coach at Ohio State. I understand you have a co-OC job. Bear with me. We got a plan. And maybe Chip Kelly's told Ryan Day, hey, look, man, I ain't trying to do this for a very long time. I'll come here, run the offense, and then eventually spiral this off into getting a new job. Because ultimately, that's what could be the thing, because maybe Chip Kelly needs to fix his image a little bit. And what better place to do it than at Ohio State, inside the shoe, in Columbus, Ohio. I couldn't think of a better place to do it. And currently, right now, neither does Chip Kelly. I'm very happy for Brian Hartline in this situation, and really kind of maybe surprising, because I do think this hire helps him out more than a Bill O'Brien hire did. But still very weird, man, to be where we are currently in this current state of the offseason. Look, it's February 9th. It's 60 degrees outside here, outside of my window. Some of y'all can see outside of this side. There we go. I have the shade down on the window to my left. I think you're right on the screen. And what do we see? You can see that sun shining so bright that it's coming in. It's nice weather outside. I hope you, on a Friday afternoon, if it's warmer you are, if you're in the Midwest, you're getting outside to enjoy the weather. You're getting outside to have the sunshine hit your skin in February during a time period where it normally doesn't happen. And also, some of y'all sitting out here rejoicing. Some of y'all sitting out here very excited. Some of y'all are sitting here saying, look, we understand what is happening right now, but also here is something else that helps Ohio State in its current state of mind. You bring in Chip Kelly. To me, it's an upgrade over Bill O'Brien. A major upgrade. And that's not saying Bill O'Brien is a bad coach. No. Or he would do bad things in Columbus. Absolutely not. But that is me saying that you bringing in this guy. It's good for Ryan Day, getting someone that he used to play for, he used to coach with, and now he's their boss. It's good for Justin Fry. Hey, my former boss is now at a new school that I am at, and is still my boss. I have to answer to him, and they can know how. Chip Kelly can desperately and instantly help the Buckeyes running game. But it also impacts Brian Hartline. Hey, man, there aren't many people better in this sport to learn from on the offensive side of the ball than Chip Kelly, and that's exactly what he gets to do. Coming up next, we're going to hear my crossover with Locked On College Football. Was over there with Spencer McLaughlin. We had an instant reaction pod discussing Bill O'Brien leaving Ohio State and Chip Kelly being hired as the Buckeyes' new offensive coordinator.
We're going up north to Columbus, which means on this show, to my left on the screen or right, depending on which way you think about it, Jay Stevens, Locked On Ohio State Buckeyes. I'll share my quick reaction first, then we'll dive into this. Chip Kelly and Ryan Day have ties together going back to their time at New Hampshire, which is where Chip Kelly was prior to his arrival to Oregon. Chip Kelly was either the head coach or the OC, I think, at New Hampshire, running this weird thing called the spread offense and no huddle and fast tempo, revolutionary concepts at the time. He goes to Oregon, but when he was at New Hampshire, Ryan Day was his quarterback. So you have now gone from, mentor to mentee for both of these guys, and that's got to be a strange role to kind of flip there. But why I think this is perfect, Jay, you've got two guys who know each other well, who philosophically see the game the same way. Chip Kelly's pedigree is well established at this point. He's got a veteran quarterback with Will Howard. I think that when Bill O'Brien announced he's going to Boston College, This is the best Ohio State could have done with their offensive coordinator move, keeps them squarely as one of the favorites in the Big Ten and to win the national championship.
I'm right there with you, man. It's one of those things that I said to you previously, and I really don't think I shared it with anybody else. I kind of was thinking this should have happened a few weeks ago. You mentioned that tie there, but I also believe that Day and Chip Kelly coached together when Day became a coach. So you had coach and quarterback, then coach, and now coach and coach once again. But for the first time, Ryan Day's the boss, not Chip Kelly. So I'm curious how that dynamic is going to go. But Spencer, I've been saying this when it comes to Ohio State's offensive coordinator position. There's two things you want to look for in a coach that you come in and you bring in for this spot. One, previous head coaching experience. Two, a guy who is a well-established play caller in NFL or college football. Bill O'Brien was that. Chip Kelly is that. So you had two candidates that fit that description. But I think maybe family ties. I don't know how close their families are, but the friendship and former coach relationship that Ryan Day and Chip Kelly had goes into why this is a hire right now. You guys will hear me stumble and say Bill O'Brien or Chip Kelly on accident because 3 weeks ago, Ohio State hired Bill O'Brien to be their OC and QB coach. He is now going to Boston, and I do think this is more of a family move. Yes, a financial upgrade as well, but I do think this is more of a family move as his son, really bad medical condition, has been getting treatment up there, and his family hadn't moved to Columbus just yet. They were still up in Boston, so it does make a lot of family ties there with that decision, but it makes a whole lot of sense. And Ryan Day can do what he wants to do, not call plays, have somebody else who he trusts handle the Buckeyes offense.
Yeah, I think that component of it works beautifully because that was part of the discussion this offseason is Ryan Day's not calling plays anymore. There are too many other responsibilities to be a college football head coach, and it works for Chip Kelly because he can be at his best. You know what Chip Kelly despises? He doesn't like recruiting a whole heck of a lot. Well, they've got Ryan Day and Brian Hartline especially to handle that aspect of it, and he likes just football. And Chip Kelly can just show up, call plays, and just coach football. And he hasn't been an offensive coordinator in a long, long time, not since his days at Oregon. I mean, 2008 would have been the last season that he was an offensive coordinator, not a head coach, but he's been the play caller at UCLA the last several years. Now, this past season is where I think some people might look at Chip Kelly and say, is this really still a great hire? Is this 10 years too late? Because of what UCLA's offense was this past year. They ended the season 8-5. They did an LA Bowl victory over the Mountain West champions in Boise State. But UCLA's problem this year was that they did not have a stable, high-ceiling quarterback situation. They were in a transition year. And so for anyone that doubts Chip Kelly and says this isn't the right time, he's not the same guy that he was. Not exactly the same guy, no. However, I encourage you to look at what he did with Dorian Thompson-Robinson at UCLA in the modern era, not what happened this past year when he was stuck between a high floor, low ceiling, inexperienced veteran quarterback in Ethan Garbers, a mostly running quarterback transfer from Kent State in Colin Schlee, and a highly recruited freshman in Dante Moore, who ended up going back to Oregon where he'd once verbally committed. Anyway, I think that Chip Kelly is still a really, really good offensive mind. He doesn't like to mess with NIL. He doesn't like to mess with donors. He doesn't like to recruit. He doesn't like to do any of that sort of stuff. Putting him in this OC role, I think, allows him to be at his best, and that is a great thing for Ohio State.
You mentioned Hartline, and I think it lost in all of this shuffle between Bill O'Brien and Chip Kelly. Brian Hartline is still the co-offensive coordinator at Ohio State. So Chip Kelly is coming in to run the entire offense, and his assistant is Brian Hartline, who you mentioned is a really good recruiter. But Ryan Day has well established himself as being somebody who's not afraid to spend the time that is needed on the road, driving around Ohio or in the airplane to get the recruits that Ohio State needs to have on their roster. So for Chip Kelly to be simply a football guy and not want the other stuff, there are people on Ohio State's current coaching staff that can do those things for him. But here's my thing. I like Chip Kelly, really good coach. He's running the Buckeyes offense, not Chip Kelly's offense. So my only maybe hesitation, which it would be that way with Bill O'Brien or whoever, Jason Candle, Toledo head coach, whoever comes in to be the OC, Are you comfortable putting your own stuff aside for Ryan Day's offense? My thought is yes. I don't think he would have taken this job if he thought that that would not be the case. But only time will tell. We'll see more in season, spring practice, spring game a little bit, but more in season. What Chip Kelly is going to do with the Buckeyes offense in the fall. It just sucks, Spencer. We got to wait till August, late August, September, October to really get the feel about what Chip Kelly will do with Ibuka and Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, and all these other phenomenal athletes that Ohio State has on the roster. But it's a good move. It does help impact Brian Hartline because Chip Kelly could use this to get a different job, another head coaching job, and also help groom Brian Hartline to be the offensive coordinator by himself for Ohio State in the future.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. And, Chip Kelly might only stick around for a couple of seasons. He may want to be a head coach just somewhere else that's not UCLA. And certainly being the Ohio State offense coordinator is a high-profile spot where you can accomplish that if you have a sufficient level of success. I mean, we've seen Luke Fickell, of course, have a great coaching career. He's at Wisconsin now. Ryan Day, obviously, was under Urban Meyer, has taken over and done a seamless job. So I think this is the right move, and you were looking for, a situation, if you're Ryan Day, in which you don't have to call plays anymore, and you want someone who you can trust, who's called plays for a long time, who you know. I think this lines up really, really well, and I think that the Brian Hartline and just Ohio State factor in general kind of neutralized Chip Kelly's biggest weakness, which is, well, he didn't really love to recruit. That's not what he does. Let everybody else worry about player and talent acquisition. They got a whole staff of people to go out and recruit and make pitches and everything like that. And just let Chip Kelly show up, scheme an offense, call plays. I think that works in a really, really big way. And I think this is the best move Ohio State could have made for their offensive coordinator job. Jay Stevens, Locked On Buckeyes. Thanks so much for stopping by, Jay.
Really enjoyed this, man. Got to do it again.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Really hope you guys enjoyed that crossover with Spencer McLaughlin. I really hope you're excited about Chip Kelly joining the Buckeyes coaching staff. Thank you all for listening and tuning in to this special bonus episode of Locked On Buckeyes here on a Friday. You can follow me on X at JStevens07. Make sure we are all subscribing and tuning in to Locked On Buckeyes here. Coverage of the Buckeyes every Monday through Friday. The occasional bonus pod. Subscribe on the audio. It instantly hits your feed. Subscribe on YouTube and hit that bell so you're notified when bonus episodes go live. We're out of here on a Feel Good Friday, Buckeye fans. We will see you next time.